Hello, and welcome to this episode of the Diary of a Lawyer. And today I just want to briefly cover the new visa restrictions against Uganda by the US State Department for what it calls undermining the democratic process in Uganda. Now, in a press statement issued by Matthew Miller, who is the department spokesperson on June 16th, 2023, the statement says that in response to human rights abuses and corruption in Uganda, the Department of State announced that it's taking steps to impose visa restrictions under Section 212, subsection A, 3C of the Immigration and Nationality Act on Ugandan individuals believed to be responsible for or complicit in undermining the democratic process in Uganda. And as directed by President Biden, the US government will continue to evaluate additional actions under the policy and use other tools at their disposal to promote accountability for Ugandan officials and other individuals responsible for or complicit in what it calls undermining the democratic process in Uganda, abusing human rights, including those of LGBTQI plus persons, or engaging in corrupt practices. And as previewed, when the Anti-Homosexuality Act 2023 was enacted in Uganda at the end of May, the department also updated its travel guidance to US citizens to highlight the risk that LGBTQI persons or those perceived to be LGBTQI plus could be prosecuted and subjected to life imprisonment or the death penalty based on provisions in the law. The United States, the statement concludes, strongly supports the Ugandan people and remains committed to advancing respect for human rights and fundamental freedoms in Uganda and globally. End of statement. Now, the department also issued on June 12, 2023, a travel advisory on Uganda, which it updated to reflect the recently enacted anti-gay legislation. And it calls on everyone or its citizens to to reconsider traveling to Uganda due to crime, terrorism, and anti-LGBTQI plus legislation, and says that there are some increased risks in several villages in western Uganda, as was the attack in 2022 and multiple bombings in and around Kampala. It goes into site incidents. As it happens, today, the 17th of June 2023, there have been reported attacks on a school in western Uganda in a nearby town called Kasese, which borders Kenya. And according to current media reports, it appear up to around 41 people are sadly believed to have lost their lives based on the information that is currently publicly available. It's not clear how many of those are children at this stage. So it would appear that that travel advisory made on June 12 would sadly have come to pass as we see events today. The statement also goes into mention violent crime such as armed robbery, home invasion, assaults as a serious threat to those visiting and residing in Uganda, and can occur at any time especially in larger cities, including Kampala and Entebbe, and in the northeastern region of Karamoja, which borders um, Kenya, as well as along Uganda's western and northern borders. And it emphasizes that the local police may not be appropriately resourced to respond effectively to serious crime in those areas. The advisory also mentions the May 2023 Anti-Homosexuality Act, which raised the risk that LGBTQI persons and those perceived to be of that persuasion could be prosecuted and subjected to life imprisonment or death based on provisions of the law, and may be subjected to mandatory reporting to police if they're suspected of committing or intending to commit acts in violation of the law, and could face harassment or attacks by vigilantes. And supporters of the dignity and human rights of gay persons could be prosecuted and imprisoned for multi-year sentences. And it goes on to list the precautions one should take if they decide to travel to Uganda. And I should add that these are standard sort of precautions that anyone should take anywhere, whether they're traveling or not, such as staying alert, being extra vigilant near ATMs or banks, etc., etc. And so that is the sort of the brief update of events in the ongoing tussle around human rights violations in Uganda, and the US and Western allies, but in particular the US, which has been an ally of Uganda for a long time in collaborating in the fight in Somalia and so on and so forth. But it appears that it's prepared to act tough on what is increasingly, it says, are gross human violations and are widely reported publicly, as well as by other local Ugandans and the media, international and local media and regional media. We shall see how events develop, and we shall keep monitoring the situation and keep you updated. So there we shall leave it on this episode of The Diary of a Lawyer. Thank you, and thanks for listening. We shall speak again. Thank you. Bye.